Father, we ask that you bless the residents of our community. May they live together in peace and harmony and have what is necessary to face each day with dignity and confidence. Bless those who protect public welfare, police, fire personnel, those who care for the roads, parks, those responsible for public health. May they have the resources and sense of purpose to do their jobs well. Bless our officials here this afternoon and those they have chosen to work with them. By electing them, we have placed in their hands our common good. Give them wisdom, prudence, patience, foresight, dedication, and the spirit of cooperation so that they may foster the well-being of all our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop Salat. I wanted to say a few words, and I've asked Jim to read the 23rd Psalm, and we can sit, everybody sat. So today, sometimes I think I live in two towns. I don't know how many people know Tom Cutinella, the young man that died, Shoreham Wading River high school athlete that passed away last week, but he's a Riverhead resident. And today I was listening in the funeral to his dad speak, and the man was a remarkable young man. And it was very moving to listen, at least I think it was his father, because we were sitting in the hall and it was piped in, but it was a very moving speech about the young man and how he was involved. He was the consummate overachiever, and he was involved in so many avenues of life, and he did everything to the fullest, and he loved God. He went to church, very much family-oriented, and I want the residents of Riverhead to pray for the Cutinella family. They are fellow residents of the town, even though it does feel like it's two towns once in a while. But this was a remarkable young man that is forever going to be missed in this town. And Jim has such a wonderful voice. I asked him if he would read from the 23rd Psalm.
The 23rd Psalm, a Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you. Everybody would keep Tom and his family in our prayers. We would really appreciate it. Okay, so we have, actually, do we have a dog today? No, okay.
I adopted the last one.
Did you really? Good.
Yes.
So it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and could I have the Trojanowski family come on down front? Oh, come on up. So, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm going to read the proclamation that Carol prepared. Whereas breast cancer is the most commonly recognized cancer among American women, in 2014 there will be an estimated 232,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer diagnosed, and about 1 in 8, 12% of women will develop invasive breast cancer during their lifetime. And whereas though rare male breast cancer is not uncommon and must be taken seriously, in 2014 about 2,360 men are expected to be diagnosed with the disease as well. And whereas every woman is at risk for breast cancer, even though she has no family history or other risk factors of the disease, whereas early detection can be an extremely effective tool, as breast cancer mortality has been in decline since 1989, with larger decreases in women younger than 50, and this has been attributed to mammography screenings, monthly self-exams, annual physical checkups, improved treatment, and increased awareness, offering hope that one day there will be a cure for this disease. And whereas we recognize the fact that today mammography is the best available method of detecting breast changes that may be cancer long before physical symptoms can even be seen or felt, and that breast cancer deaths could decline further if all women aged 40 and older receive mammographies at regular intervals. Now, therefore, I, Sean Walter, Supervisor of the Town of Riverhead, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and urge all the residents to learn the facts about breast cancer and to talk to their healthcare providers about regular clinical breast examinations, getting regular mammographies, and practicing monthly self-examinations. Furthermore, we salute the women and men who dedicate themselves to prevention, dedication, and treatment. We show our support for every individual and every family struggling with breast cancer, and we pause to remember those we have lost, so that in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I ask that all employees of the Town of Riverhead wear something pink today, October 7, 2014, in memory of our own employee, Loretta Trojanowski, who fought the courageous battle through 2013. May we look for a future free of all cancers. On behalf of the town board, thank you.
Thank you very much. Really, thank you so much. Means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Just sit down.
Okay. John?
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the September 16, 2014, and the special town board meeting of October 2nd, 2014. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Under correspondence, a letter from Sal Mastropolo regarding public hearing of September 16th.
So Diane, I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just wanted, as I picked up the North Fork Breast Health Coalition's pen, I just want to thank the North Fork Breast Health Coalition. They do a wonderful job. And is anybody here from North Fork? They do a wonderful job. They dropped off some pads and pens and everything. But the thing that you should understand about North Fork Breast Health Coalition is that in the face of cancer, there's a lot of things that go on in the family, and North Fork Breast Health Coalition is there to help and support that family. It's not just all about chemotherapy and radiation and other things that are probably unspeakable. It's also about family health, and they always stand willing to help. I don't know who the president is at this point. Linda Hulse is a good friend of mine, and she's been very involved with them for a long time. So I thank Linda and all the other volunteers of North Fork Breast Health Coalition as well. Who is it? Is it Janine Evans?
And Susie, NDR.
I just want to say that every October they have a breast cancer coalition walk for the research that goes into finding a cure for breast cancer. So next year, because the walk has already been done the 1st of October, maybe we can all go out and walk for breast cancer cure. for research. So, just looking at papers, the end of September, the beginning of October of next year, and they walk at Tanger, so it isn't bad. You're under if it rains, you're under the eaves, and if it doesn't rain, you're in the parking lot. And they do it before it opens, so you don't have to worry about getting run over by a car. Okay? Thank you.
Diane,
Okay, I'll
take it away.
A letter from Sal Mastropolo regarding the public hearing of September 16th, and that is a special permit petition of Theodora Cohen. The Calverton Civic Association sent a letter of support to moving the Town Justice Court and Jail to the Armory Building on Route 58. Charles Cuddy sent a letter regarding the public hearing of September 16th, and that was proposed amendments to Chapter 108, redemption of preservation credits. There were letters of opinion, concern, or recommendation regarding the EPCAL DEIS, and they were from Central Pine Barrens Commission, Group for the East End, Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition. There were 3 from individual emails, 3 individual residents. Also, the Conservation Advisory Council had correspondence, and that was just one. John Hunter for Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-113-2-30. Under reports, the building department submitted their monthly report for September, $68,046. Tax receiver monthly utility collection report for August, $554,992.11. Town clerk monthly report for September, $17,865.43. The sewer district submitted their discharge monitoring report for August. Under fire districts, the Wading River, Riverhead, and Jamesport fire districts submitted their 2015 proposed budget. And under applications, a parade permit for the Roanoke Avenue Elementary School for their Halloween parade on October 31st. And that's it.
Okay, great. Are there any other committee reports?
No, I'd just like to, well, I know it's gonna be on TV, but those who were here, the country fair is this Sunday. Starts at 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock, right on Main Street on the riverfront. So if you've never been there, it's a great event. And if you have been there, you know it is.
All right. Any other committee reports? Not hearing anybody. We will move on to our public hearings. We have 4 public hearings today. The first public hearing is scheduled to start at 2:05. It is now 2:13. We're going to open public hearing for the consideration of a special permit petition of Lighthouse Yacht Club to reconstruct and expand an existing restaurant building at 229 Meeting House Creek Road, Aquabog. Is there anybody here for the applicant that wishes to address us? Bill Andes for the applicant? William Andes?
Good afternoon. My name is William Andes, and I represent Alex Galazzo and Lighthouse Yacht Club in connection with the application. This application concerns the Meeting House Creek Inn restaurant in Aquabog. I think everyone's probably familiar with it. What I'd like to do at the outset is hand
If
out
you would, please.
the affidavits, posting and mailing, and also a letter which outlines in detail all the arguments I'm going to make. I think there's 8 copies there.
Thank you.
There's one for Bob, too.
You don't want us to read this while you're speaking?
Well, no, what I'd like, what I'd like you to do is to please make that part of the official record, and what I'll do is I'll just summarize what's in that letter, if I may.
Great, thank you.
There's a pre-existing non-conforming restaurant. It's in an RB 80 zoning district. On a bottom-line basis, what the applicant is asking is that while the structure be elevated to comply with FEMA requirements, that the applicant be allowed to expand the interior space on the second floor. There is a second floor of about 282 square feet, and we're here today because we're asking that that be expanded to 1,824 feet. The proposed storage space would be used to house restaurant supplies, utilities, and mechanicals of the building, air conditioning equipment, a furnace, hot water heater. There are several important facts of this application which I think will help the board narrow it down and decide what they want to do with it. We're not asking to expand anything outside the footprint of the building. Nothing goes on outside the footprint except for a handicap ramp to accommodate disabled individuals. The seating capacity of the restaurant will not be increased. It's at 163 seats, that's approved. We're not asking to increase that. The parking lot will not change. We're not asking that it be increased or even reconfigured. The height requirement due to the elevation will be under the 35 feet required by the zoning. The second floor is going to be used for storage and office space and to house the utilities. There'll be no seating on the second floor. The first floor, there'll be no net change to the square footage on the first floor. There's been persistent flooding, as some of you may know from personal knowledge, at the site. Every few years, the place gets flooded, the restaurant gets flooded, the stove, the refrigeration, and Hurricane Sandy was just awful. There were tens of thousands of dollars of damage, both to the property and to the business, to the revenue, interruption of the revenue. In your town code, section 108.13.3.5, it sets out the requirements to grant this application. It's all spelled out in detail in the letter I gave you. But what I'd like to do is just very briefly summarize. The storage site on the second floor is particularly suited for this storage. There's no better place perhaps to put it on the site. The plot outside is not affected. There's no issues with regard to proximity of schools, churches. The traffic will not be affected. The surrounding roads will not be affected. There's no curb cuts. There's no change again in the parking lot. There's no effect on emergency conditions, buffer yards, setbacks. We're not asking any sort of change in the outside of the footprint. Stormwater runoff, waste, refuge, septic is all sufficient to accommodate what's there, and we're not asking for an increase in, again, in the seating. The existing municipal services are adequate. There's no environmental effect, frankly, at all. And we think we've met or exceeded all of the requirements. And some of the requirements, because it's internal storage and it's not, and nothing's happening outside the footprint, some of these requirements are not applicable. But I've addressed each and every one of them. in there.
Currently, the utilities and the storage are outside at grade level.
That's my understanding. Some are. There's a pre-existing storage on the second floor right now, which is used as office and some storage space.
But effectively, you're pulling some of your storage and most of your utilities out of the floodplain and putting them where they should be.
That's my understanding, more or less, yes.
Okay. All right, does the board have any other questions?
So the only increase then in square footage would be on the second floor, about 1,500 feet.
That's right.
Right,
That's
that's the
right.
only change here.
That's right.
And I don't have my notes from when you appeared before us at work session, but what was that percentage of expansion in the pre-existing non-conforming? I think it was less than 25%, right?
Approximately 25%, that's right.
25%. And then have you given any considerations to green methodologies for the stormwater runoff? Like gutters and leaders into cisterns, and then you can pump the cisterns back up for the water to reuse it for watering any plants or vegetation on the deck?
Well, I'll let Nick speak to that. You have more knowledge of the details than I do.
It's just reusing the stormwater, and it saves you money in your water charges also.
Nicholas Vera, architect for Alex Galasso. Actually,
Nicholas, I need you to raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
There has been some discussion with reference to that, but we really haven't gone any further with that until we get into site plan review, get into the technicalities with the building department. But if that's a consideration that the board would like us to look at, by all means we would.
Yeah, just because it's, you're not currently regulated by stormwater pollution prevention plans, so any way that we can prevent runoff from going into the river, even on the undersized lots, would be, recommended by me. So if you can consider that, I would like to put it as a comment for you to consider.
Getting the okay from the boards.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else on the board? No? All right, I'll open it up for public comment. Does anybody wish to be heard on this application? All right, not seeing anybody. I will close the public comment portion and leave it open for written comment until October 17th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, the next public hearing was scheduled for 2:10, and it is now 2:21. We open the public hearing for the consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 48 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Beaches and Recreation Areas, definition recreation trail. Joe, do you want to present this, or Bob?
Yeah, this is from the Alternative Transportation Committee, and because our recreation trails have a thin layer of asphalt, we wish to restrict all motorized vehicles from using those recreational trails. They would just be for passive recreation or bicycling and walking, rollerblading, things of that nature. And there will be a fine imposed so that we can put signs up to let everybody know that they shouldn't be on there with their ATVs and their motorized vehicles, cars, things of that nature.
All right, does anybody wish to be heard on this matter? Not
I
seeing it.
have one
Oh,
comment here, as I'm looking at this. They're talking all areas designated as walking trail, bicycle paths. Should that be all paved areas? Because almost every trail we have through the Pine, but you have different areas on the trails. We're trying to save the asphalt, am I correct?
Well, also, so that people aren't getting run over while they're
No,
walking
but-
on our trails.
No, but you're talking about a designated
Well, what have we
area.
designated?
Right, we'd have to designate,
I would say it should be asphalt.
it
and
should be
paved
asphalt,
areas.
because there's so many trails that are being used to access certain parts of the woods, even with the hunters, whoever.
So, what would that be, Bob? A definition, a designated trail would be a paved trail? We could just do a definition later on, or do we have to re-advertise and post?
We don't have to re-advertise and post. I think that,
This was discussed at work session
I think we
before we
can,
put it on.
I think we can designate, bicycle path, clearly is different than, hiking trail. Are you talking about the trails that go through the woods for the
Everywhere.
hunters? Yeah.
Whoever,
they drive
walking,
on-
hiking, for anybody's, there's a lot of trails. I can understand the paved trail, that was the intent, right? Not to write any
Right,
asphalt,
that's
so we're
correct.
breaking it, that was the intent.
Yep.
So we gotta stay with that intent, I would think.
I agree.
Right. Or just designate, and make sure that we get the ones we want to capture designated.
Right.
Right. I
We
think
can
that's,
designate it by a town board
Designated by
resolution.
Yeah.
resolution.
yep.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll designate it by resolution that it is the, good luck with the officer trying to write the ticket, find the resolution, but we'll designate it by resolution
Doesn't even resolution
that the 4 mile, 4.5 mile
pertaining to,
track.
can we add to that? A resolution pertaining to asphalt,
An area designated by town board, how about we just an area, because I don't think it would really matter. I don't think it's a substantial change if you said an area designated by town board resolution, Bob. That wouldn't, I don't think that'd be a significant change.
I mean, it's really not. I mean, the intent, I know what the intent was for the bike trail and the walking trail, which was around the perimeter of EPCAL. And any other walking or bike trails which we may have, and at this point, it's only EPCAL,
All right.
I think is, and
Well, we have the
Stockey
trails
Farm.
in Stotsky also, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, an area designated, we could change it to an area, if you don't think it's a significant change, an area designated by town board resolution.
it's. I
When
don't
we
think
adopt
it's-
it.
I don't think it's substantive.
I don't think that's substantive, because you have to designate it.
That's right.
And so we'll designate by TB Reso. So we're gonna, anybody wish to be heard on that change? Not seeing anybody. Okay, so, what we'll do is, when we adopt it, we'll do it that way, and then we'll pass a resolution. Is everybody okay with
And then
that?
and then on the signs on the trail, we can refer to the resolution, say designated trail area, and then put the resolution and the date on it, so that if any officer needs to write a ticket, he can refer to
That's
the
fine.
sign.
All right, we'll leave it, close the public comment portion, leave it open to written comment until October 17th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. The next public hearing is scheduled for 2:15. It is now 2:25, and this is a consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 106 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Waterways. Bob, do you want to open the public hearing?
Sure. This is something that I'm sure we're going to have some comment on. It's looking to address the newest, technology that's, I guess, come out that goes beyond water skiing and such, which are the jet boards and the flyboards. And this is something that I don't think is unique for the town of Riverhead. As a result of about 2 months of research, I see that other jurisdictions have also attempted to gain some sense of control or limits on the use of jetpack vessels or these type of items. Maryland, for example, has imposed interim regulations, and I understand they're waiting in comment. And this is our attempt to regulate or provide for what we believe would be a safe and fun-filled sport. We changed the definition. Principally, the changes involve the following. We define commercial dockage. We then include a definition for regulated water sports. And then the provision that previously regulated water skiing is now going to be regulated under the general category of regulated water sports, which will be inclusive of water skiing, parasailing, wakeboarding, and as indicated, jetboard and flyboard type of devices.
Okay, so we forgot to bring our dog in, so we're gonna bring the dog in after this public hearing, should I remember, but there's a dog outside to adopt, so there's a lot of people here, one of you should adopt that dog. Okay, Bob, thanks for the synopsis on that. Does anybody wish to be heard on this matter? Yes, if you come up to the microphone, state your name and hamlet that you reside in for the record.
James Bissett, owner-operator of Flyboard LI. Right, I agree with the regulations being put forth for regulating the jetpacks, flyboards. Obviously, it's a new activity, it needs to be under regulations. The regulations that you're putting it under as the same as wakeboarding, water skiing, parasailing, being 500 feet from the shore, I think is a little over excessive due to the fact and the way the operation of flyboarding. The regulations of parasailing and wakeboarding, you're going on a boat 20 to 25 miles an hour through the open waters towing a person, whereas if you stop when you're wakeboarding, that person being towed can keep going at a speed of 20 miles an hour. For the operation of flyboarding, for myself being in control of the flyboarder's propulsion, as soon as that person is down onto the water, you let go of the throttle, the person may not move at all until the actual operator on the flyboard, on the jet ski, can control that. Let's see here. We're not breaking any of the laws. Since we are operating in a 5 mile an hour zone, no wake, the jet ski is less than 5 miles an hour, if not standing still. Not creating any wake pretty much at all, any larger than any other boat or jet ski passing by on a normal basis. I have seen the Maryland regulations that you guys have spoken about. I think they are very well put forth. They are put forth for the safety of the jetpacks and the flyboards. Stating depths of water. They stated a minimum of 6 feet. Out here in the Peconic Bay, we're operating in at least 9 to 12 feet. 12 feet on high tides, 8 to 9 feet on low tides. Myself being a licensed instructor, safety is the #1 concern for the flyboarders. For a person, a beginner or so is, only necessarily flying 10 feet above the waters. If the person does fall down with the buoyancy of the flyboard and the life jacket itself, possibility is only going underneath about 6 feet of water. So I think the minimum of depths of 6 feet is doable. I would raise it up to 8 feet. Would be fine. The 500 feet from any shores, docks is a little over. 100 feet, I believe, is doable. Like I told you, the hose is 50 feet long, 10 feet under the jet ski. So with 10 feet under the jet ski, the flyboarder is only actually 40 feet from the jet ski. So me being a minimum of 50 feet from any object, there's physically no possible way for the flyboarder to come in contact with any object out in the water. So I think 100 feet from any shore, boats, docks, anything like that is doable. Also, obviously we have had complaints from our residences. I have moved on the opposite side of the channel towards the Southampton side, away from residents. I believe if we put in a regulation, at least 300 feet from any residencies is doable. Let's see what else. Yeah, so 100 feet from any shores, 300 feet from any residencies, and I think it's a great thing for this town, being part of the Long Island Aquarium and Hyatt Place Hotel. We're trying to create a destination, a fun spot for people to enjoy this town. I've brought through over 300 people have come to Flyboard LI and have participated with me, enjoying every minute, staying over at the hotel, eating over at the local restaurants, enjoying the town that we want them to do. I do have some printed out sheets of that as well, if you'd like to see those. I just think it's a great opportunity for the town of Riverhead to grow in this sport. If I'd not be able to participate in this river, I would have to go out further into the bay, where would probably not be able to operate out there, and I would probably have to move to another town, and not giving the revenue into this town, which we have a big influence in. And I have gotten petitions from local residents, favors here, and also comments from our marinas as well. I have printed out the Maryland regulations, which I have edited from ourselves. If you guys wanted to take a look at these, I have printed out some of these as well.
Why don't you hand the petitions up to the town clerk?
And that's all.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? Yes, sir. If you'd step up to the microphone, just give us your name and handle it.
Sure, my name is Christopher Perillo. I'm in Riverhead at 111 Riverside Drive.
You didn't have to give your address, just...
Oh, that's fine, I don't care. Everybody knows where I live, so it's fine. If they know
Yes.
my dog, they know me. Anyway, certainly hearing Mr. Bissett's comments, I just want to backtrack a bit. Mr. Bissett had approached me back in the late spring after my wife and I had cited a nuisance complaint regarding the noise from his flyboard operation. And he approached me at my residence, hence that's why I have no problem stating my address. And I had said to Mr. Bissett, I tried to give him some, I guess, sagely advice, but I guess I looked too young and too timid to give any sagely advice. And I had said to him, you need to consider three things. And I did say to him, I said, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Riverhead, and I think it's a business venture. I think it's a great business venture. He's certainly proven that it can make money, which is a great thing, given the fact that I watched the number of lessons triple as the summer, came through July and August, 6-7 days a week from 10 a.m. to almost sundown, 7 p.m. say. At the same time, I had said to him, there are three things you need to consider. One, the needs of your business. Two, the needs of your clients. And three, the needs of your neighbors. I said, because this is a unique operation. And I think Mr. Bissett has done a great job assessing the needs of 1 and 2, but not 3. And considering my wife and I have done personal decibel level tests, because they have an app for that. They got an app for everything now. Even though decibel levels do not exceed Town of Riverhead standards in terms of 90 decibels and above, which would be a clear violation, and certainly he's doing it during daylight hours, it's like a barking dog. That's what it's like. And I had even said to Mr. Bissett, I'd said, it sounds like a leaf blower going 45 minutes every hour. And I mowed my lawn on Sunday for 45 minutes. Mr. Bissett was out with a client on his flyboard, and I can assure you, my lawnmower was just as loud, but it was for 45 minutes for an entire week. So, and again, I want him to succeed, and I've said that to him. And certainly, you know, I think any financial institution would love to write him a loan for a pontoon boat and a floating dock.
Are you offering?
I'm a school teacher. I couldn't offer anything. Okay, as my wife is as well. But certainly, having my father having owned a business for 35 years in Nassau County, you know, I know what works and what doesn't work, and this works. This works. I know it does. All right, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the town board opening up the floor on this issue and letting us speak.
Is it better since he's probably in Southampton waters and not even in our jurisdiction potentially? Is it better since he's that far?
Here's the thing, and I've spoken with my neighbors about it, and I rent the home that I live in. I rent, and I've spoken to my landlord about it. And, you know, initially it was, well, the winds are coming out of the southwest, so that's why you're catching the brunt of it. Well, the winds were out of the north on Sunday, and the decibel level was the same. It was the same. The noise carried right back, and maybe, who knows why? Maybe it's because it's a cove, and the sound's got nowhere to go but to stay in the cove. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But the noise level was basically the same. So, you know, I mean, it's one day, but, you know, if it's a hard wind in December, I would think maybe not, but then again, if it's out there flyboarding in December, then, you know, who knows. But thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter?
Good afternoon. Glenn Brewster.
How you doing, Glenn?
There's a few things that I'd
Where are
like
you
to-
from, Glenn?
Riverhead. I'm a neighbor. A few things I'd like to clear up. First of all, I strongly urge you to pass this amendment to the code. It's very important for the residents of the town. It just makes sense. As people trying to kayak, they won't go in that area. It causes confusion when you're coming in with your boat. He doesn't know which way to go. He's not really that mobile, and he's got somebody tethered to them. So we did run into a situation that I was coming in with my boat, and he looked at me, and he's yelling at me, which way are you going? Now, if anybody has a boat, you know that you don't do verbal commands when you're on a boat. There's a way to go and there's a way not to go. I mean, otherwise we'd all be crashing into each other. So anyway, the other thing is, if you thought moving to the other side of the river was going to solve this problem, why didn't you? You never did. You
can address us.
All right, well, all right, he didn't move to the other side of the river. He kept, so my fear is that we're going to get lip service from this gentleman. He's going to say what you want him to say, what he wants you to hear, and he's still going to do what he wants to do, which he did all summer, despite all the violations he got and all the tickets and everything else. I can't enjoy my yard. Like the previous speaker spoke about, it's a constant drone of like a leaf blower going all day long. He doesn't hear it. The users of the machine, I'm sure they're having fun. It looks like a great thing. I don't want to put them out of business. I think it's a terrific idea. I water ski, I snow ski, I did all kinds of crazy sports when I was a kid too, and that looks like a lot of fun.
Bless you.
But it's just not the place. It's too small. I've read the Maryland regulation. It says 100 feet from shore. Well, if you go 100 feet from each shore there, he's got about a 25-foot window in which to use his mechanism. Plus, it says it's not to be used in anywhere where you go where there's a 6-mile-an-hour regulation. And there's a 6-mile-an-hour regulation, a speed of 6 miles per hour in the entire river. So that would negate the entire river.
We didn't put that in.
It also says it has to be operated in a certain depth, and he claims the depth of Merritt's Bay. He doesn't use his vessel in Peconic Bay. It's Merritt's Bay, and it's 5 feet on the tide chart, and the tide charts list the high tide. So at the highest tide, unless it's a flood or a spring or a full tide, it's 5 feet. So he's clear. Again, I'm not sure what he's talking about. So I just urge you to pass this legislation, bring me back my peace to my block. I love I've always spoken highly of the aquarium. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad it's some kind of economic engine for the street. It brings people downtown. I don't hate the aquarium. I love it. And up until this point, I've never had a problem with them. But I've been I've been called, I'm tempting a libel suit because I've been called a liar in the newspaper publicly by commenters and some that work at the aquarium. So it's just kind of, to hang your hat on this one piece of business seems a little crazy to me. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brewster. Next. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, Garrett Moore, East Main Street, Riverhead. Just like to show my support for the flyboarding operation. I'm probably one of the closest neighbors. My residence backs right up to Jerry and the Mermaids, right there on Main Street. And Mr. Bissett has shown me courtesy all summer. I'm there on my dock, my personal boat, and my Sea-Tow boat all summer. He's moved out of the way when I've had to leave, either on a Sea-Tow call or when I'm going out on my own, showing me the courtesy there. And I think there has been a little exaggeration from what I've read on the online Riverhead Local and local papers. As far as the mud being stirred up, as far as the water lines on the boats changing color, that happens all the time. I've been there 11 years, nothing's changed according to the color of the water on my boat. Is it noisy? I can hear it if I'm down on my boat. I can hear it on my dock. I can't hear it if I'm in my house. I can't hear it even if I'm halfway down my yard. So, I appreciate the concerns of the neighbors, but I'd like to see the operation succeed. He's been nothing but courteous to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard?
Gerald Simone. I own the house at 111 Riverside. I also have a dock there, and I have my boats at the end of the dock. Mr. Bissett's usually stays a good 100 feet off the end of my dock, but I do spend a lot of time on the boat, and it is relentless, and the noise it just never ends, and it is annoying. It does affect the peace and tranquility of the river. It's changed my ability to enjoy the peace and quiet down there. When he does go to the other side, it is an improvement. How much of an improvement I can't say. For me, my tenants aren't happy. They're not happy. I'm not happy. But the other side of the river was to me seemed an improvement. I don't know how people swim in that river. I don't know if anybody's ever done any testing on the waters there, but they got to be ingesting water in that when they're doing that. So that was another thought I had, but I don't know. That's it. I just don't think it's the right place for it. Did he ever consider going around the finger with that other?
We've had a lot of conversations with him.
Where he doesn't have to leave the river, but maybe away from residents.
We've had a lot of conversations with him.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, it's come down to this.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Simone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Brian DeLuca. I'm the executive director of the aquarium and the Hyatt and the property there where the marina operates as well. And Mr. Bissett is operating his flyboard operation. We are building a resort destination. That is really our objective, building tourism for Riverhead and for the East End. The Hyatt occupancy has been healthy, international travelers coming in. Unfortunately this year the aquarium attendance was down, and if anybody owns a business, it's very difficult to get consumers to come to your operation. And fortunately for us, having Flyboard at our marina has given us a unique opportunity to be the only Flyboard operation on Long Island. We would hope that would be embraced by the town, being the most unique operation with flyboarding on Long Island, and in the state for that matter. I have reached out to the senator and the state for regulation because I don't think the burden should be solely on this town because this operation, this business, and people flyboarding could pop up anywhere and everywhere. So I have reached out to the state to potentially consider adopting regulation. The Maryland regulation, for the most part, is very accommodating for all those involved, being a good neighbor and running the business. The current resolution, as it stands, falls short of proper safety protocol. The resolution was written with the objective of keeping Flyboard 500 feet offshore and really fell short where Mr. Bissett submitted to you things that are concerning with depth of water, wearing safety helmets, wind speeds when operating, and having trained operators. Those are all elements that should be part of the resolution. So as the resolution stands, I would say it needs improvement and further review. Maryland has done a very good job in assessing the needs for the flyboarders and safe operation for that. And there's a great deal in the content of the Maryland law that can and should be adopted, which Mr. Bissett, I think, provided for you. The other concern with being 500 feet offshore and being out in the middle of the bay also puts you outside of protective cove. And with varied boat traffic at various speeds, 50, 60 miles an hour, I think we're subjecting the general public that are experiencing this to safety concerns when you have boats in every which direction traveling at high speeds out in the open water, which is the only place you can be at 500 feet offshore. So that's concerning, and I don't think that clearly is a resolution for this operation. And should that come to fruition, I think it's dangerous, and it puts the operation outside of the realm of operating within the Treasure Cove Marina and driving people to downtown Riverhead. The state of Maryland has written specific code for flyboarding, and there are content there within the code written for this resolution is all based on water skiing, and that needs absolutely to be revised between spotters and things that water skiing requires when somebody's being towed behind you. There's really not a need to reinvent the wheel because Maryland has a good portion of it. The 100 feet from the fixed dock and shorelines in the Maryland Code, I think that makes good sense. And I think Mr. Bissett also put in there 300 feet from any residence, which would put you just outside of the range of where some of the residents are concerned and or operate on the other side of the river, on the other side of the channel. And a minimum of 6 feet of water, which would give him the opportunity to still work in the protective cove. The other recommendation that we have for this is that the town issues a commercial license for operation. So you ensure that the operators are insured and they've been trained by a flyboard instructor. And so the town will be able to issue permit licenses to people operating this commercial business. There is a chance that we're not going to be the only flyboard operation out of Treasure Cove Marina in the near summer coming, or the near future, and that would really create more flyboarders on the water and more jetpacks. And regulation is definitely required, but pushing the operation 500 feet offshore is arbitrary, and I think the Maryland has got it right, and no need for the town to stress over this. I think there's a good portion that could be adopted based on that law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Anthony Lidke?
Say that again, sir?
Anthony Lidke? Supervisor, members of the board, I'm here to support the flyboard.
Where are you from, sir?
I live in Port Jefferson, but I've been a Riverhead summer resident here since 1996 in the marina there. So I'm here from April to October every summer since '96. Now, my boat is about 20 feet from where this takes place. I honestly don't have a problem with the sound. I really have difficulty trying to figure out how the wind is playing such an important factor here, where there's such a dramatic change from a couple hundred yards away. But more to the point, I really believe that the 500-foot barrier there is really targeted legislation, if I may, to prevent it from occurring. 100 feet would be reasonable. It keeps it away from the homes. The boats are not impacted by it, not by sound. 6 miles an hour, I think the wake on that thing is about 2 inches. So there's no problem with wake, there's no problem with speed. It's well within the limits of the river. But quite frankly, I have a problem with the bay constable. Now, he'll hang out down there for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, sitting there writing up summonses. Meanwhile, if you boat in this area, which I'm sure many of you do, you go out the river, they're water skiing right off the golf course. They're water skiing right at the end of the beach, certainly an infraction of the existing legislation. Where's the bay constable? He's down there writing summonses for water skiing. Now, I think as a business owner, I think it's unfair, unreasonable to restrict the business. As a Riverhead Summer resident, I enjoy the resort environment that they're trying to develop there. I think it brings people into Riverhead. I mean, I'm on the docks with these people. They say that they come from Manhattan, they come from Brooklyn, they come from Jersey, they come from Connecticut. So they don't drive out for 2 hours and go home. So I think they're helping the downtown area. As a boater, again, if you go back to the big house, you got kayaks, you got canoes, you got all these people all over the navigation channels in the river. There's nobody giving them direction. There's nobody giving them any kind of information on where they should and should not be. And yet that's the bay constable's job. But where is it? Then he's writing summonses, and I just have to share this with you if I may. Water skiing, the definition of water skiing. To plane over water on a water ski by grasping a towing rope pulled by a speedboat. So certainly, this is not anywhere near water skiing. And if you want to lump it all into parasailing and all of that, you still need a power boat to parasail. This has got nothing to do with that. I mean, we might as well bring in the skydiving legislation. I mean, it's really that absurd, in my opinion. So, if you will, I would like to say that I think it's being unfair, it's targeted, and I just think that's not the way that this should be handled. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Yes.
Tom Metz, I reside in Wading River. I too, like Mr. Lipke, keep my boat at the marina. I'm actually one boat slip closer to Jimmy's operation than Tony is, and I agree with the sound is really not an issue for us at all. I feel for the people that may hear the noise, I just don't understand it. My wife and I spend every single weekend for the past 10 years at that marina. His operation being there has absolutely no effect on our summer. We enjoy watching it. We enjoy watching the people come down and have fun. I think I'm fully supportive of the whole operation, and that's all I can say. I don't understand what people are hearing, because I don't hear it. Simple as that. And I am the closest person to his operations. I'm even closer than the gentleman who owns the sea tow boat. I'm right next to his operation. I find everything just fine where I stand. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard? All right, Mr. Bissett, I have a couple questions for you. Could you go up there? So, here's my thought. I know why we've done it this way, 500 feet, because this is a new technology. The water skiing, 500 feet, boating regulations, navigation channels, what Mr. Brewster said about navigating the boat. You should have known, and I'm not criticizing you, when he's coming, you should have done something, or not done something when he was heading towards you. That was your obligation, so you should never yell at him. So here's my question. How deep can you go with that thing? If you go straight up and straight down, how deep can you go?
The way it works, all right, so if you're flying 10 feet in the air and that person falls to the water, me being a certified instructor, when that person is falling to the water, I ease off the throttle. As soon as they hit the water,
No, I'm talking about, I watched a video
No.
where you're
The way-
porpoising in the
alright,
water.
the
How
way-
far can you shove your head down in the water?
How far can I shove my head down
Yeah.
in the water? I can go 30 feet down into the water, being in control of the throttle.
Okay,
When
so-
someone else is, when a customer of mine is doing that, most of the time I do not let them do the porpoising. Once in a while I do, and as soon as they do hit the water, the throttle shuts off. So same thing as if,
But we're not regulating you, so you can go 30 feet,
well, like I said, the hose is 40 feet from the jet ski.
so you can go 30 feet deep.
Yes, sir.
Well, not every time.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
there's no place there's very few places in the
There
Peconic
is no
Bay
place.
you could
There,
really
the
even-
max depth is 25 feet in the Peconic Bay.
Yeah, so,
But there's
I
no.
mean, I think our issue really was to try not to reinvent the wheel with our code,
Mm-hmm.
but the reality is, it should be the depth of water. If we regulate the depth of water, you're also not gonna stay in there, because I would be willing to bet that that channel, I know our Jim Divan's not here, but I'll bet that channel's not more than 6 or 7 feet deep.
Yes, it is. It is at least 12 feet. I've measured it many times. Low tide, high tide.
I'm gonna find that out.
Well, there's a challenge.
Actually,
Like I said,
can
like
do it.
the Maryland town is maximum 6 feet. That's the thing. When you're flying above, it's the same thing as jumping off of a boat or anything. And like I told you, with the buoyancy of the life vest and the board floats as well.
Yeah, but we're regulating for everybody, so if somebody
Well,
can go
that-
down 30 feet,
But no one's going down 30 feet. I'm in control of their throttle.
The
I'm in
Maryland-
control
if
of
I can intervene, the Maryland regulations with respect to porpoising requires a minimum of 25 feet.
respecting porpoising. So I'll cut porpoising out of my operation. That's no problem.
but I mean, that's.
Most people can't get up and be able to move her that well anyway.
Well, I want to do it, but we got to get through this.
Well, we can
first.
go out into the bay and do that with you.
But here's the problem. We're not just regulating you, although it's sort of an interesting idea of making you a permanent business, but we're not here to do that. We're regulating everybody that might come in here. So if we regulate depth, then I can probably go on my phone on Navionics, I'm a boater, and tell you what Navionics says the depth of the channel is. Jim Divan can shoot some soundings and tell us the depth of the channel. I'm pretty suspicious that you could even meet the depth of the channel at low tide that Maryland has based on what the average depth that Jim Divan is going to probably tell us. So here's another question. In the area, what is the width of the river in the area you're in?
The width of the river
Right.
is over. We have measured it out the other day.
Figure you
Probably
would.
from on the Southampton side where I've been operating, from that marina all the way to the shore, probably over 800 feet.
Okay. So, I mean, if we do 500 feet, you could still be in Southampton, because they don't have a regulation yet.
True.
I guess you've thought of that.
I've gone on that side to get away from the other residents. I've been for the last month or so I've been on that side, and I've like I told you, I've checked the depths. Safety is my number one concern for my people.
Well, yeah, because if somebody gets hurt,
They're coming to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my number one concern. I'm a certified instructor. I have over 400 hours flyboarding.
you have insurance, I'm sure.
I have insurance. I have everything covered. But the biggest thing is I know how to control it. I'm not shooting people down into the water.
But
Okay.
we're not regulating for you.
But with the regulation, I understand that. So if you, like Mr. DeLuca said, giving me a commercial permit to operate there, say if you put these regulations in, 5 mile an hour zone, depth of a certain amount, okay, whatever regulations you put in will keep other operators from coming in there. If you say we have 3 permits to give out to the town of Riverhead, if you offer me one to operate here, you offer someone else one to
Sounds
operate
like
in another area.
Sounds like a monopoly.
Not necessarily.
I
You're
don't
just
think
giving,
we're
you're,
gonna- I
you're
don't-
giving me a commercial permit to operate in another area, like in the Maryland regulations for people putting on shows or demonstrations, anything like that. You have to give them a permit to operate.
Jim, my concern, if the river's only 400 feet wide,
Yes,
the channel is what, 50 feet wide? I'm guessing.
more or less. Yeah.
So really, there's only because you can't operate in the channel. I mean, I think you understand
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
So if you went out 350 feet, you're basically still in the town, but you're in the channel. I mean, there's really not any room.
In that cove that I'm operating on the Southampton side, there's more than enough room to
Yeah, you
to
can do
operate
that.
over
I
there.
can't regulate that.
Well, what is there? No.
There's not, there's
Well,
nothing,
that's
there's
why
nothing
I
that
haven't.
can
I've
do
moved
for
over
that.
there. I'm not going to participate on the side of the Riverhead Town side because I don't want any more problems with our residents.
And honestly, if it's only 800 feet wide, and I don't know that it is or isn't, we regulate 500 feet, but we only regulate to the edge of the town's jurisdiction.
I understand. Well, I think 500 feet is unnecessary. I mean, 100 feet, 150 feet from any shore is more than enough. Like I told you, the way of the operation, why there's 500 feet for parasailing and such like that, like I told you, because it's a speedboat going at these certain speeds. When they stop, they're keeping going. When I stop, I'm not moving anywhere.
What kind of exhaust system do you have on that?
It's just a normal. It's a stock jet ski.
The exhaust goes through the. I'm trying to think of where the exhaust goes through.
The exhaust comes out
Comes
where the
out.
prop is. There's an exhaust port.
But is the exhaust coming out the flyboarder's feet, or is it?
No,
is it
the
going
exhaust
through
comes
tube?
out the actual jet ski
So-
it's on the side of where the prop is.
So it's not really underwater per se. It's probably at the water line, the exhaust.
Yeah, it's right up, pretty much above it, right on there. Yeah, just it's a normal
Right.
jet ski. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same as
I
anyone.
understand the problem. John asked me about boating, water skiing. I said the
Mm-hmm.
noise in a water ski is different because it's the Doppler effect. You hear it, it gets louder, 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 and then goes away. You're just sitting there.
Mhm.
So if we, and I don't know that they make mufflers that shoot directly into the water, but if you had a muffler that shot directly into the water, it would probably not give as much power, but it would also take away the noise.
Possibly, I could look into that for you.
All right, well, we've taken a lot of information. Unless there's something new, what I'm gonna do is close the.
Can I ask you-
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I asked you one question. The length of the hose,
Yep.
the longer it is, the less power you have, or does that matter at all?
Not necessarily. It's a 50-foot hose. That's the normal length of the hose. The further away, the longer the hose is actually it's better for the operation because now the flyboard is actually further away, like giving it more space in between the jet ski and the flyboarder. But it really it's the same amount of pressure pretty much.
You said you can go under 30 foot, you said.
Correct.
So the hose has to be at least 30 foot?
The hose is
You can go
50
under
feet
30
long.
foot?
The hose it doesn't have. I have other hoses that are 30 feet, 40 feet. It doesn't have to be that long. It's better for yourself for safety reasons.
What happens if the jet ski stalls when somebody's 30 feet in the air?
And that person will come down to the water.
It's gonna fall down.
It's
All right, is there anything different that we haven't heard? All right, is there something different? Yeah, you can go up. You can go across the front. Go across the back.
I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable that he has control of the throttle like that.
Yeah, but it's everybody else that gets one, every other Yahoo that gets one of these things that.
My name is Chris Locasio. I live in Farmingville. I have done some flyboarding. Obviously, I'm not a short fella. I've never had an issue with coming anywhere near the bottom of the river. And from a standpoint of noise, I can communicate with Jimmy. He can hear me. I can hear him. It really can't be too loud. So if we're all saying it's loud, I wouldn't be able to communicate, wouldn't if I could. And owning a business, I think it's crazy to potentially pull a business like this out of here. Which you want Riverhead to be a destination. And you pull something out, I think you eliminate it, you bring it to other towns. So, on behalf of Flyboard Long Island, I support it, and I think you should keep it here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'm going to close the public comment portion. On that note, leave it open for written comment on the 17th of October in the town clerk's office. I would imagine this would end shortly as the water gets colder,
Bring a dog in?
so we have a little bit of time. Yes, let's bring our dog in. We've got a dog. You guys don't leave flyboarders. This could be a dog for you. Wow, that's actually, oh, he looks scared. Oh,
Is he scared? Too many people.
wow.
No.
That's too much noise for him.
Yeah,
All right, so adopt that dog.
Okay.
Good home with one person. All right.
Everybody can check the boards. Come see me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the dog.
Oh, there we are. Go for it. We're not sure. We think he may be a Greyhound Lab mix. We're kind of speculating he did come in as a stray. He had very bad mange, so there's little to no fur on his body at all. So we put him on the proper medication, nursed him back to health, cleaned him up, and he is looking amazing compared to what he did.
Yeah.
I brought the flyer that they'll put on the bulletin boards, but that actually has a before and after picture of him. He's about 1.5 years old, an absolute sweetheart. He's a little nervous today, obviously, but usually he gets along with any person that's ever come in contact with him. He seems pretty nice towards most dogs, and we haven't seen any problems with cats or smaller dogs, any problems like that. So he's just looking for the right home. But he likes to get his 5-minute full-out sprint, and then he's just a couch potato from there. So
This
He's
is
a
his
sweet
big
boy.
debut.
He's a sweet boy.
What's his name?
Orion.
So, yeah, you came here for flyboarding, take a dog. And if you don't like this one, or your friend takes this one,
We have about 20 other dogs out there.
There you go. So
Waiting patiently.
they're all looking for good homes. Well, thank you, Orion, for visiting us. We appreciate it. Maybe we'll find a nice home for you.
That's awesome.
That's a good looking dog. No, that mange is, okay.
Yeah, I have two.
I have the two cats, yeah. I wipe my head on the, probably because they're putting the medicine on it. Okie dokie, let's go. There was one more public hearing, before we forget.
I think there was one outside.
Michael's there.
This is a public hearing that's supposed to be scheduled for 2:20. It is 3:09 PM. We're going to open the public hearing to consider the extension of our Riverhead Sewer District. And I think we have Nick Bono from H2M Architects and Engineers and Michael Reichel, nice pink shirt, nice pink tie. Mike you guys got the email. If you want to present this application for Gerald East Hotel Corporation on West Main Street, Riverhead.
Good afternoon.
Make it good, your boss is
So
here.
you're okay. Just you have to be close to it. That's
All right, good afternoon.
There you go. There you go.
My name's Nick Bono. I'm
Have
with
you done these before, Nick?
Public Stakeholder Meetings, first board hearing.
Oh, this is the first board meeting. Mike, if he does something wrong, just give him a little smack in the head. Okay. Good. Go ahead, Nick. Take it away.
All right. My name's Nick Bono. I'm with H2M Architects and Engineers, and we were retained by the town to prepare a map and plan to extend the Riverhead Sewer District boundary to encompass the vacant property adjacent.
What's a map and plan? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
To encompass the vacant property adjacent to Hotel Indigo. The property in question is outside the existing sewer district boundary. It's shown here in green. The yellow boundary on the map is the sewer district.
Can you move that? Yeah, there you go, Mike. You can help
Thanks,
out.
Mike. Both properties are owned by Jarrell. The subject site will connect to the sewer district via a gravity sewer extension that was identified in a previous map and plan prepared for the connection of Hotel Indigo. That was last updated in 2010. You can see here the extension is proposed to go through an easement routed behind the storefronts on the north end of Tanger. And that's where we're looking to connect the vacant property as well. The cost for that extension will be borne by the property owner,
and there will be a no net nitrogen charge for the connection of that property,
We thank him for that.
equal to $63,000 and $66,307.50. The downstream infrastructure was also evaluated. The pump station that this will drain to,
Is this
located.
the one across the street from Maple Tree Deli, or is this getting pumped up?
This is going to be the Tanger pump station on Tanger property. Was evaluated, and it does have additional capacity to accommodate the flow.
Okay. It's a great project, because it puts some of Tanger's buildings on sewer, takes them off septic, so it's a great project. Does anybody wish to be heard on this? I know the applicant's here, but I don't know, they've kind of said it all. Anybody from the audience wish to be heard? All right, Nick, you did a great job. We're going to close it for public comment, leave it open for written comment, October 17th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Okay, now we're going to take up resolutions. Sal, Master Polo.
Resolution 681. Could you tell me what we use water at those 3 locations for?
We did do it. Water District. Dogwood, Marioki, and Schultz Road. We take water in from Suffolk County Water. So we take water in at those locations, and we actually give Suffolk County Water at Peconic Bay Boulevard. So those are interconnects. The one that we get the most water is Dogwood, because there's an actual pump station. Yeah, it's a pump station that pumps it, increases the pressure from the Suffolk County Water Authority. And then Marioki and Schultz are just pressure. If the pressure is lower on one side, it'll feed back and forth. So it's our interconnects.
All right, thank you. 689. Are we going to start teaching ESL at the Recreation Department?
I don't know, but that wouldn't be a bad idea, probably.
Well, I don't know if that would be a good idea. I mean, we're getting killed in the school district with new ESL teachers. Why are we taking it on as a town?
I don't know that we are taking it on as a town,
You're hiring
per
a
se,
teacher.
but if you're, what's the problem with teaching English as a second language? We have a whole host of immigrants here, legal and maybe not.
But these fees will be covered by the fees that people pay to come to this.
Oh, yeah, these are self-sustaining.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
They're not fees that the taxpayers have to pay. He's covering this by the fees people pay to take this course.
Okay. 690. The now therefore be it resolved. Is this an after-the-fact resolution? Because the dates are October 1st, 2013 to September 30th, 2014.
This is the DWI resolution, and there's a second one. These are 2 separate grants, as I understand it. And yes, it would sort of be after the fact, but not quite after the fact. And
So the
next
dates
one's
are
going
correct?
forward. The dates are correct, yes.
After the fact.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what we've been asked to do.
I was just concerned that the dates were wrong.
No, it is correct. They are correct.
701. In all the years that I've been attending town board meetings, I've never seen a resolution seeking approval to sell Christmas trees. And we probably have a half a dozen to a dozen people in this town selling Christmas trees at Christmas time. Is this something new, or do we require guys
Yeah, I
like
don't think this is
Carl's
getting
and-
passed. I don't think this will probably be tabled because they're not done with their site plan resolution. They're not done with, they're still operating under a temporary CO, so I don't know that this resolution's gonna.
Right.
I'm gonna make a
Temporary.
motion to table it.
Temporary CO will expire by the time this event is about to
That's
take
not the
place.
question.
Well, it
That's
still
not
brings
the
up an
question,
issue.
though.
The issue is,
Why? Why?
right,
That's the
the issue
question,
is,
though.
do we require everybody else in this
Well,
town?
you have to go case by case. The farms do it. under their ag and market exemption.
I know Home
And they're
Depot does it
permitted.
also when they have their tent.
I think Carl's does it too.
Home Depot, yeah, but they have it in their, Carl's and Home Depot do it inside their display
They
area.
don't do it when they have
This is
flowers. They put flowers in the parking lot, and they don't come and ask for a resolution from us. So,
Some-
I think that's what he's,
Some do,
only when they put tents up.
well, some do and some don't. Maybe not for Christmas trees, but they do for the flowers, they do for
They don't-
tents.
I've never seen one.
So the issue here is because they want to put a tent up, not because they want to sell Christmas trees?
No, I think it's because they want to
No,
sell
no.
Christmas trees.
If they wanna put a tent up, they have to get a chapter 90. Christmas trees or flowers, I've never seen a resolution for Christmas trees or flowers.
That's not true.
That's why I asked the
That's-
question.
that-
That's not
I
true.
agree with
We
you.
do it for Peconic Bay Medical
Decent.
Center.
What?
We do it for Peconic Bay Medical Center every year.
They put a tent up, that's for their tent.
No.
That's for their tent.
No. Your tent permit is a separate permit.
Chapter
That's it.
90,
Chapter
they're doing
90.
a chapter 90 for their tent, and they're off their premise, and they usually somebody else's premise.
Yes, but the
So they
chapter
do a
90,
chapter 90.
the chapter 90 and the tent permit are separate permits. So,
I'd still like to know
The
the
answer
to Sal's
is-
question. Why do they?
the answer is
Yeah.
that some of these companies are probably trying to do more than their site plan would allow. And so they apply for these chapter 90 permits and these tent permits. And the town board is gonna have to make a decision because it's Home Depot with the tent they have up now. It's PC Richards when they put up their tent cell. It's Costco when they're doing this. So the town board's gonna have to make a decision as to whether do we want to allow people to operate sort of outside the permit of their site plan. And, that decision hasn't been made by the town board. But it is, your question is right on point with the decision the board is going to have
I
to
have no
make.
problem with it. Let's make check $90,000 application. Put it in.
Okay.
But I think this one may get tabled because they're still operating under a temporary CO.
All right, that's it.
All right, does anybody else wish to be heard? Not si- yes? Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. This is on Resolution 713, authorizes the use of the Henry Pfeiffer Community Center for no-cost spay and neuter services for residents of the town of Riverhead. I'm Gillian Pulch, I'm the director of the Norfolk Animal Welfare League. And this is Pat Gray, she's the executive director for the Southampton Animal Shelter Foundation.
Welcome to Riverhead, Pat.
Thank you. Wanted to just clarify.
Want
in
to take
case-
a dog back with you?
I think she's got her own dogs. I just wanted to quickly clarify that the community center will not be used for surgeries. We're strictly asking to use it for recovery, and we need the bathrooms for the staff of the mobile unit. All surgeries will be done on the mobile unit. And just wanted to let you guys know that we're here if anybody has any questions or concerns.
So you're saying it's for recovery?
Mhm.
So surgery and inside, you have the recovery inside there?
We'll have the recovery, the dogs will recover inside the Henry Pfeiffer building, so they will, just for an hour or so until they wake up enough for their owners to take them home.
Right, and your administrative services will be in it too, I'm assuming?
Administrative services are done outside mostly, the mobile unit. They have a table and a tent, an
Okay,
awning
I'm just
that
reading
comes
the
on.
resolution saying it would be inside.
Administrative services as far as discharge would be in the inside. One person, me, probably.
What we do is we go in the morning, we set up the dog kennels, we'll set up a desk, and as the animals go on board, they'll have the procedures, then the animal will be taken away. That could take an hour, that could take 2 hours, and we start recovery, dismissing the animals as they recover, so the owners come in and take them one at a time.
Oh, if you could state your name and affiliation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat Gray, Executive Director of Southampton Animal Shelter Foundation.
Are these services free?
No, but they're very affordable. Our spay, I'm sorry, they have the grant.
So this is free spay and neuter for dogs and cats?
Up to Riverhead.
For Riverhead. So-
For Riverhead residents? All we have to do is open the door for a building we don't really use.
And
Yeah,
the re-
use the bathrooms.
You would have fees for those that aren't residents,
And this-
correct?
yeah.
No.
Whoever comes in?
This is going to be
Non-residents.
advertised for Riverhead residents only.
Okay.
You're only gonna
That's
be,
a grant, I got a grant that I need to utilize for
day,
the
right?
residents of Riverhead for spaying for free.
you're
I
only,
got it.
you're only gonna be there for 1 day.
2 days.
29
8 to
2
4,
days?
Not overnight.
And why'd you
Oh,
select
and
that?
October
oh,
30th, I suppose, okay.
And why'd you select that location?
We can't do it, we've worked with them extensively at the Southwold location, our shelter. Unfortunately, the Riverhead shelter that we currently are in, we can't, there's no space for recovery there. We can't recover animals. We don't have any space to do it. And there's not sufficient bathroom services for the staff and in case somebody from the public needed to use a bathroom. So we need to do this somewhere else. And the Henry Pfeffer building seemed to make sense since if all goes well, it'll eventually be the shelter anyway.
All right, good. Sounds like a great program.
I'm curious as to how many cars you expect coming to the site, because normally for something like this, we would require a site plan approval showing the parking and the number of people that you expect to come. I know there's also a resolution here for the building permit for the property, for the supervisor to sign the building permit application.
That's not
A site plan?
Well, let's take it one at a time. We never would require a site plan. This is sort of the equivalent of like a blood donor truck coming in to.
Yeah, well,
And the second.
or the health van that comes in and parks.
The senior center.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that it was being advertised, and some of the emails that I got may have been confusing, where it said that you needed to advertise in Southampton and in Riverhead. So I've just, during the qualified and eligible hearing, I made it perfectly clear that the taxpayers are leasing this building to you for $1 a year, and the town is paying you close to $300,000 to run our animal shelter, and I think you're doing a great job.
200.
Okay, I think you're doing a great job with that, but I don't want the taxpayers from the town of Riverhead to subsidize other towns' animals, and that's my concern.
But you're
But
not.
this isn't costing anything.
No, we're providing the facility, we're having somebody there to open and close the door each day that they're there, but I expected your reply to be, it's only for Riverhead residents.
And it's free to Riverhead residents, so what you, for the cost of probably a $12 an hour, I'm guessing, employee of the Recreation Department to open and close it, we will have free spay and neuter clinics for the Riverhead residents. It's
I know,
a
but
win-win-win for Riverhead residents.
They don't have to be there all day, the recreation staff employee?
Maybe. It's no
Maybe.
different than
We
any
would
other,
require
Jody,
that.
it's
We
no,
would
we
require
do
any
this
assistance
all
all
day
day.
long.
I thank you for, not only securing the grant, but using it in this manner. It's a great thing.
Now, how long are you in Southampton doing this with this van?
We obtained the van in January of 2014.
Oh, good.
The funds were granted to us from the ASPCA. Right now, the van is in Yonkers, and the van is spaying and neutering up to 250 animals within 5 days.
Wow.
There's a tremendous need, and it's affordable to people who normally couldn't get those services.
So the
This is a terrific
dates,
grant.
the dates are October 29th and October 30th. Do you need pre-registration with North Fork, or can you drop in? Pre-appointment?
They make appointments.
Make appointments, okay.
They do.
Okay, I'm sorry, pre-registration
Because we would
appointments.
have much more demand than we're gonna be able to fill
Yeah,
properly. So then we give vouchers for local veterinarians. If we can't fit them in, that's the area.
Great. All right.
I think it's a good idea, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard on resolutions?
Good afternoon, James Moore, Baiting Hollow, Mercury Property Management at John Wesley Village. In reference to Resolution 693, approving the zone change from DC4 to DC1 for the old firehouse on 2nd Street. Will the town be issuing a new RFP for the purchase of this facility?
No, I don't believe so. In fact, you and I had this conversation extensively yesterday.
Did.
And so Mr. Castaldi's worked very hard to obtain approval of the town to move forward. And unfortunately, and I'd love to work with you on another project, and we would, but it's kind of, I'll say disingenuous to kind of try to swoop in and offer a little more money after Mr. Castaldi
I take
worked hard.
exception to that.
You
that
can,
characterization.
that's
I
fine.
think that's patently unfair.
Well,
Mr. Supervisor, all due respect.
well,
The
let me
RFP
finish.
The RFP that was issued
Mr.
is not germane
Moore,
to
let
this
me-
property now. You're
let-
now changing the value and the interest in this property.
Could be,
Absolutely.
could be. But I said to you, there's plenty of DC1 zoning in downtown Riverhead
So there's no need to change it to DC1 zoning then?
that you could obtain. So, but what I find interesting is the way this came about, and I'm not going to get into the details, but Mr. Castaldi's worked very hard at trying to obtain
And
permits
other
from
parties
this.
would have been interested in this property,
And,
but they know the town's going to entertain a housing zone change there, sir.
Actually, if you looked at some of the press comments.
Press comments are not official
not
notices
the
from the
press-
town, sir.
Well,
They're not. They can't substitute
you,
an RFP
you
that's
could have,
different than what you're approving.
you could have applied for the RFP.
The RFP was not germane to what you're doing today.
Yes, but it's
No,
also.
sir. RFP, that was for commercial
Is
property.
this,
You added a
is,
housing component.
is this your show or is it our show? Can I talk now?
Feel free to, sir.
Thank you,
but
Mr.
please,
Moore.
Don't,
Thank-
don't scold
Thank
me
you,
over
Mr.
disingenuous.
Thank you,
I don't
Mr. Moore.
appreciate that.
That's fine. But we had a long conversation yesterday, and, you know, what's interesting is we worked hard to obtain somebody to do this. During the course of the negotiations, the change of zone was probably mentioned, dozens of times over 6 or 8 months. The town, it's in an urban renewal area, and the town actually could, if it wanted to, though we choose not to, we could give the property for free for the right project. That's what the town's allowed to do in an urban renewal. And so you're asking, you have a gentleman that has invested millions and millions of dollars on East Main Street to create quite an attraction. And so when you look at what he's done, and to my knowledge, you haven't done anything on East Main Street. You haven't done anything on.
Provided housing in this town for 35 years.
Do you understand when I'm
Tens of millions of
speaking,
dollars
you shouldn't be speaking? And then I'll let you speak? So he's invested millions of dollars, and he's renovated a building to an absolute showcase. And he's worked very hard with the town, and I just don't want to, I think it wouldn't be a good thing, a show of good faith to the business community, because we did this to Mr. Castaldi once before. We had Mr. Castaldi in, we told him we were going to sell it to him, then we pulled the plug on him, and then we told him we're going to sell it to him again. And so that's kind of conversation we had, that just wouldn't be good business, make good business sense, or make the town look, it wouldn't shed a good light on the town board if we pulled the rug out from under him a second time. And so given his track record on East Main Street, and I don't dispute your track record on Middle Road, you guys do a great job up there, but given his track record, I think it's a very good thing that we move forward with this. Now it's your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I applaud all that Mr. Castaldi has done in this town. Bravo. He's done a fantastic job in the theater. We all appreciate that. There cannot be a quid pro quo, which is what you're suggesting when you say he's done a great job on East Main. Therefore, we have to honor what we're doing at a lower price for the firehouse. You're changing the terms of the RFP drastically. Drastically. The RFP bears no resemblance whatsoever to what the ultimate product's going to be that the town sells. Given the budget constraints of the town, I would think the town would be interested in giving the top dollar for their assets.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard?
Yeah, I would just like to say that, you know, Mr. Moore lives on my block, and when I was driving by his house one day, he said, "Are you guys seriously considering changing the zoning for the firehouse? Because if you are, I want to buy it." And when I drove by him the other day, he said, "Are you guys voting on this Tuesday to change the zone?" Well, I'm putting an offer in. And I've been saying from the very beginning that I thought that if we were going to change the zone, that we should put it out for an RFP. The original RFP said you could build a church, library, museum, or funeral home. And that's what the RFP was for.
Actually, R3 didn't say that.
Well, it said DC4, and those are the permitted uses in DC4. So now we're changing it to tavern, restaurant, bar, apartments, retail, anything basically that can go in there. And, you know, other than an offer coming back, and you know what? I appreciate what you're saying is that if we want to have a good appearance with the business community, that we shouldn't pull out, but there's really nothing in writing right now. There's no contract. And we do have an offer for $100,000 more, and in these budgetary constraints, I don't think it's anything to sneeze at, or it's a measly $100,000, which is what was expressed to me that you said to Mr. Moore yesterday. It's not a measly $100,000. It's somebody's job. And so I think that we should be putting this out for an RFP, and we should be getting the best offer for this building based on the uses that we're proposing. Just my opinion.
And so I guess when the majority of the town board decided to move forward, you thought it would be a good idea to continue to what I would call tortious interference with contract. We're not in contract. We
We're not in
passed a
contract.
whole series of resolutions authorizing the contract for me
Right.
to sign the contract. And those resolutions, I think, still stand. If we had a contract right now, unless you passed a resolution to invalidate my ability to sign it, I can sign the contract. But we've gone through this
Yeah,
for
but-
Jody, we've
but the-
gone through this for 6 months, and.
And the contract is contingent on Mr. Castaldi's terms.
Can
That
I-
we change the zone, that his engineer approves of the building, and all of that. So, based on your resolutions and your efforts and what you're saying, the contract should have been signed already.
So, my point is that the board agreed to do something, and it's hard for me to understand why you would undermine the entire town board
It's
to
not
try
undermining
to.
it, it's trying to get more money for the town, because that's what my responsibility is to the taxpayers.
All right, my question is this, just so this tit for tat can go bye-bye. This resolution, 693, is calling for a zone change, not a particular sale, is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it
Okay.
changes out.
Can I just, I'm just a simple guy. And we were getting a lower price for the firehouse. We instituted negotiations and we said, can you give us more money for this firehouse? And we went into negotiations back and forth, and I see where you're coming from, but we should have done that at the beginning. We shouldn't have done this
What,
after
put out an RFP?
negotiations have been completed. So I agree with you that we should have went out for an RFP. Nobody brought it up. We
I
went
brought
into-
it up
we went into
every
nego-
time a
but we didn't
resolution
vote on it. We went into the negotiations, we voted on negotiations. It's like someone changing something midstream. You know, after you get finished 90% of it, and then someone says, wait a minute, I want to do this, let's start all over again. We were being honest, Mr. Castaldi was being honest, it was in the papers all the time. I mean, we would drag through the papers for at least 6 months about this. So, this could have been done sooner and not waiting till the last minute to do this. So yes, I do agree with you. We should have been out for RFP. We should have done it when we were talking about changing the zoning. No one brought it up for a vote. We didn't. This came up for a vote, and the majority of the board said yes, and this is the way it's heading. And, yeah,
Well,
you know.
I agree with John, because originally the RFP response was like 375, am I
Yes.
correct? 375. So through negotiations, and we went on for a number of weeks, we brought it up to 500,000. So it was negotiated on his part and our part, so we,
There's a
that's
lot
what we
of
got,
hard
we
work.
got.
There's a lot of hard work
A lot of
put
hard
into
work
with Mr. Castaldi.
just to move that number up.
And
That's
how
right.
would you feel as a businessman if somebody else, after you did all the hard
Right.
work, swooped in and said, I want the fruit of your labor?
What hard work was there, Sean?
A lot of hard work went
A
into
lot of
this.
hard work,
A lot of
okay,
town attorney time,
because-
a lot of FaceTime
Yeah,
with
you know
Mr.
what?
Castaldi.
A lot of hard
I
work
know,
for
I-
the
I
zone
know,
change.
I was speaking.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of staff time, there was a lot of planning board time, there was a lot of my time, other board members' times. We spent a fair amount of time talking about this.
And at that point, Castaldi could have walked away after RFP when we rejected the 375. He could have walked away and
That's
started the
right,
process
yes.
over. But he chose to work with the board and to get where we kind of wanted to be. I think that's where we
Sal, I
ended up.
really don't want to go into a back and forth,
I guess I just
please.
look
No,
at
we're
it
not
like,
gonna go into back and forth. I just want to express my support of Jody. If the property's worth more now, once it's rezoned, then it should go out for a rebid.
Okay, thank you, Sal.
No, I agree too, but it should have been done when we first started this.
I look at this as a business decision, and you know what? We have an opportunity to bid it out, and you know what? I think that if we did bid it out for an RFP after we changed the zone, that the offer that we got of $600,000 would actually be the lowest bidder. I think that people would come in a lot higher than that, but we will never know. We never did a reappraisal. The other appraisal said 1.8 million.
We never changed the zone.
The other appraisal said $1.8 million, and it deducted $350,000 from the land value of the property. So that leaves it still in the $1 million range, and with the new zoning, I think it's worth a lot more. And I think that it's, during these economic times, it's definitely something that we should consider.
Okay.
Putting it out for RFP.
I agree with you, but I think the board has to look at a moral decision. You know what
We're
I'm
just
saying?
changing a
Where do we
zone right
change?
now.
Is
We're
it
not
just a
selling the
number, or we
building.
just, so we got some kind of obligation morally, I think, to stay with what we do.
I agree with you.
And it's a tough
100%.
call, I agree with you, of course we need the money, but at what
That's right.
point do we,
All right,
Lose
if
out.
there's no other comments from the public, let's take up the resolutions then. Thank you.
Resolution 676.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Tricia Holland, Northville, Brisbane. I'm talking about number 684. There are quite a few people here from the Northville Beach Civic Association. I personally came up to this podium last month and asked you about the pipes that were coming through.
Yes, I was looking
And it was
into that.
sort of not talked about. And now this says there's going to be a public hearing about what's going on after the fact.
No, the pipes.
This has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, the pipes, I was confused when you were asking about pipes. The pipes coming in are National Grid natural gas pipes. The piping they'll do in Northville to bring gasoline in has to do with this resolution, so they're two different issues. But the good part is that because National Grid has brought the I think it's an 8-inch main to Northville, the residents will benefit from that eventually, but that's natural
Do we
gas.
know that as a fact, or this is just something we're supposing?
No, that's a fact.
We
That's a
did
fact.
speak to,
That is a fact.
the terminal. We asked him what those gas pipes were, and he said it was natural gas coming to his terminal, so he could use the natural gas at the terminal. Eventually, it will benefit everybody along there, because that natural gas pipe will be up on your road, and it's a lot easier for me to extend it right down the road to every house on that road than it is to come from where they're coming from, up west, to bring that pipe. So I assume that they're not doing it for free, because natural gas doesn't do anything for free.
No.
So I mean,
National Grid, Northville probably paid for
it's,
that
yes,
extension.
right.
But that will benefit you ultimately
Yes.
if you're on that
It will.
route.
Or my children will not inherit my house because it will have blown up.
I guess that is in the realm of possibility.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody else wish to be heard? All right, let's take up the resolution. Got to move
Wait,
quicker.
wait.
I know. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Anthony Yaruso, resident of Riverhead. I live up on Sound Shore Road. I wanted to talk to you, or ask you rather, about the claims lead agency. That will be the town board. We'll have the lead agency status for the CEQA.
Yes.
Environmental issues for the gasoline that's going into the tanks.
Correct.
And all the issues with that. Will
Correct.
rest with this board.
Correct.
And there it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're not gonna be partial. We have to hear it, and we have to make a determination whether it's good for the town or not good for the town.
Or its residents.
Yes. So it's a public hearing, and everybody is invited to the public hearing.
Correct. All right. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Not seeing anybody. I close the public comment portion. Diane, please call the resolution.
Resolution 676.
General fund budget adjustment. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
This is because we're short in our fuel account. We budgeted $650,000, and it's estimated that it's gonna cost us $750,000 for this year, as it has in past years, in the past 3 years, so I'll vote yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 677.
This authorizes the acceptance of a donation from Total Training Riverhead Rocks Triathlon, $2,500. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 678.
General Fund Police Bulletproof Vest. It's a budget adjustment. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 679.
Riverhead Scavenger Waste Fund Budget Adjustment, so moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 680.
Riverhead Sewer District budget adjustment. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 681.
Water District Budget Adjustment, so moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 682.
Appoints a senior building inspector, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
As liaison to the building department, Mr. Hammond is doing a fantastic job in the building department. He's pulling everything together, working together, bringing the department together, and bringing in more funds for expired permits. I think he's doing a fantastic job, and he's a wonderful addition to the town. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, this was, when we negotiated for him to come in for employment, this was part of his negotiations, that if he did a good job, he would be promoted.
No, we're not promoting him, he passed the test.
Well, he passed the test, but we
No
are,
change in salary.
we're promoting the senior building inspector.
No, he is a senior building inspector. The chief is the one that we promote him to potentially. He is the senior building inspector. He just had to pass the test. He was provisionally appointed.
He's making the same pay.
Okay,
Yeah, the next one, well,
yes.
if he passes,
Yes. Walter.
yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 683.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute and submit applications necessary for the construction and conversion of the Henry Pfeiffer Community Center at EPCAL by the North Fork Animal Welfare League for use as the town animal shelter. So moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
I think this is the wrong location, and I think that building is worth a lot of money. I respect that the board has decided to put the North Fork Animal Welfare League there, but I'm gonna vote no.
Gabrielson.
You guys have to do this once more. No, I agree with Councilwoman Giglio. I don't think that's the best location for an animal shelter. I think it's kind of hostile environment with all the concrete, et cetera. I don't think that's the best spot. And I look at it as $1 million asset. I really think it's worth $1 million. When a subdivision, I think that'd probably be one of the first pieces that would sell. Kind of what I call a gateway to the energy park. We had a lot of interest in it, and I really think that we should look at another location. I don't think that's the spot for it.
So you're
No.
voting, okay. Wooten.
That 4-acre lot in the Recreational Scenic River Act is worth a perfect spot, and I vote wholeheartedly yes.
Dunleavy.
Well, if that building was worth $1 million, we've had it there for about 12 years now, sitting vacant, 15 years, sitting vacant. So I don't know who's gonna step up to buy it for $1 million, but I really think that it's underused. This will give it a proper use. It will move our animal shelter from a dilapidated building to a new fixed-up building when it's finished. And I think this is gonna be a proper use for that area. And there's no residents around it for the dogs to bother if they bark, so they can bark all they want. I vote yes.
Walter.
So George, I'm gonna invite you to,
Got
we
a
don't
comment?
even know whether we can get the permits to do this through the WSR.
We did meet with the
And
DEC
so,
boards.
we
gotta
have
invite us.
had meetings, but we don't know whether we can get, so, if we can't get the permits, then you've won.
I
But
w-
what
I-
you've
no, I
won
haven't
is you
won.
can't do anything with it
I
because we
won,
can't get them.
But
So-
I just want, can I make one comment?
Yeah, go ahead. I shouldn't
Councilman-
have opened it up, but I did.
Councilman, it's not a dilapidated building. We put $500,000 in that of rec funds that we will not get back.
The animal shelter.
The animal shelter.
Oh, I thought you meant this one was, because you said a new location.
We're
We-
moving it to a
but even
nice
w-
building, and it's gonna be really nice after they fix it
But either
up.
way, we did sink $500,000 of
We
rec
did.
funds into that. That will be lost.
Well, we're gonna figure out how to pay that back, but I'm,
Okay.
George,
what-
you're listening like the papers listen.
Oh my goodness. All right, so George, I'm gonna have you involved in that permit process to see how difficult it is for us to get these permits, which
Yes.
we may or may not get.
Right.
If you don't, you have your way, but then nobody can
Whatever.
use the building.
Well, no,
that's
as
not
existing,
fair.
I
with
vote
no,
yes.
no, no.
Resolution.
The problem
Okay.
with the
Please move.
permits
They can
are,
use the
you're
existing
expanding a new building there. That's the problem. The
That's-
major
that
problem.
is-
That's the major
that's
problem.
true.
Well, we
Existing
have to wait
building
till the
is
DEC, what they
I know,
say.
standing by itself probably won't be a problem, but the minute you put that addition, I think that's the problem.
Right,
I
you're
spoke
right.
with Walsh, so
Okay.
I've met with him already twice.
Resolution
Okay.
It's a long
adopted.
day.
Good.
That resolution is adopted. Resolution 684.
Read it, John.
Okay, call it.
Call it. You're up.
Resolution 684. Claims lead agency classifies action and determines the environmental significance special permit of United Riverhead Terminal, New York, and calls for a public hearing. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 685.
Accept donation of a copy machine from Advanced Imaging System for use by the town of Riverhead. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
And I have to thank Advanced Imaging Systems Incorporated. This is saving the town a lot of money. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 686.
Wait, can we join all these?
We got four of them, 686, 87, 88, and 89. Like to move
Okay.
six, all right, like to move 686, 687, 688, 689.
A
So
second.
moved.
A second.
Moved and seconded as to 686 through 89.
Giglio.
Vote, please.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution 686, 687, 688, 689 are adopted.
Can you read into the record what those resolutions are?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
These were appointment of 686, appointment of a assistant recreation leader 3 to the recreation department. 687 is appoints an assistant recreation leader to the recreation department. 688, appoint recreation aid level 1 to the recreation department. And 689, appoints a call-in recreation specialist to the recreation department.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution 690.
Authorize the town supervisor to execute DWI enforcement agreement between the county of Suffolk and the town of Riverhead and stop DWI program. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 691.
Authorizes the town supervisor to execute DWI enforcement agreement between the county of Suffolk and the town of Riverhead, stop DWI program. So moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 692.
Adopts a local law to amend chapter 108 of the River Town Code entitled zoning, transfer of development rights. 108-330, redemption and preservation credits. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 693.
This approves the zone change from DC4 to DC1 for property located at 24 East Second Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-128-525.1. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, this is a good place to start. I would like to extend this all the way to the railroad tracks.
Gee, where did
But
I
we
hear
have
that?
to start someplace, and
Where
this
did I
is a
hear
good way
that?
to start. Huh?
Where did I hear that?
I vote yes.
Thanks, Jim.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 694.
Authorize supervisor to issue a letter to the S-Power pursuant to section 487 of the real property tax law of the intention to enter into a contract for payments in lieu of taxes, and that's a pilot payment. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 695.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post public notice of public hearing to consider a proposed local law for an amendment to Chapter 101, Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code, parking prohibited, Ostrander Avenue. So moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Who painted this curb? Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 696.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the County of Suffolk Office for the Aging AAA Transportation Program. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 697.
This authorization to publish advertisement for a request for proposals for sale of real property located at 542 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-129-3-35.2. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
I just want to make sure this gets advertised in other papers, like in the city and what have you, even if I have to pay for it myself. So Diane, when you get ready to
Right,
send out
make
that
that, you put that
advertisement,
on
let me
record.
know.
Okay.
She'll pay for
Thank
it.
She's paying for it
Yes.
herself.
Pay for it herself.
Okay.
Huh?
So that was,
Page ad, New York Times.
That's it. See?
Yeah.
so that was a yes.
Yep.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
If you wanted to go like this with the firehouse, we should have had something like this to go along with the firehouse at the time. We didn't. But I'm gonna vote yes for this because this is the time to do it.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 698.
Awards bid control valve maintenance and repair services contract as the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
Yes, I don't know why. We have to get a Connecticut firm to do this?
Only one
No,
responded. We only had
no,
one bid. One responded to the bid, and this was it.
Yeah, they've done work for us before.
Yeah.
It never worked before.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 699.
Approves the application for fireworks permit of Riverhead Business Improvement District Management Association at Grangerville Park on Saturday, November 1st. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 700.
Authorize bow hunting for deer on town property at Enterprise Park at Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-135-1-7.33, et al., 1751 Sound Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-60-1-2, 437 Youngs Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-80-2-6.1, Middle Road, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-80-2-10.1, from October 11, 2014 to December 5th, inclusive. So move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
We passed this resolution 3 weeks ago, but what we did, we extended the season
Extended the
5
date.
days within the DEC's time period.
This should be amended, a resolution.
Well, we did it, we passed it.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
Yeah, and anybody that wanna put signs up, deer, keep moving. Put them up, we'll get out of this
Move 'em
area.
to Southhold.
Get out of this area.
Scott Russell
right?
loves them.
Maybe we'll scare
I
them right
vote
out of
yes,
town.
because
Scare 'em right to
the
Southhold.
bow hunters will be out.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 701.
Move the table.
You want a table? That's
And
fine.
Is that what you want to do?
I'll
Yes, we want a
it.
table.
I'm not voting for it.
We have to wait for CO, right?
Yeah,
That's
there's no
what I
CO.
say.
Correct. I second the table.
Moved and seconded as to table.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
I just don't understand why we're persecuting Costo when they don't own the property
That person.
that has to get finished. The contractor said he will finish it by the end of October. We're not there yet, so, I guess Costco has to take the brunt of,
Well, this doesn't start till November
the,
1st, so they got.
no,
they got
it's,
two
Fire
months.
under them to get it done.
promise, okay?
Well, this is how we
I
light,
vote no.
as Councilwoman Giglio just astutely said, you have to light a fire under them to get their attention, so we just lit the
It
match.
doesn't start till November 1st, so we
Yeah.
got another meeting between now.
Well, you got Halloween to go through before you can start thinking about it,
They
and
extended that, didn't they?
Thanksgiving before you
If you
think
go
about
in the stores, they already have Christmas stuff, they're selling Christmas stuff in the stores.
I try to avoid
I mean,
that.
Christmas
go to
comes
Ace-
early.
I go to Ace Hardware
For-
and Home Depot.
Is this the same?
It's a variety show, Jim.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution, excuse me,
Table.
resolution tabled. Resolution 702.
Ratifies approval of the Chapter 90 application of Home Depot Development of Maryland, Inc. It's a tent sale October 6th, 2014 through November 20th, 2014. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 703.
Authorizes the release of site plan security of Bechtel Communications Incorporated, LIN Cellular at Cherry Creek Golf Course. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Dunleavy?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 704.
Grants exportation land clearing permit to Nightland Incorporated as provided by Chapter 62 and Tile Excavations of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I just hope that he gets all the tenants in those buildings. They look nice, but he has a lot of buildings up there. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution
I
adopted.
agree with you.
Resolution 705.
It authorizes town clerk, you, to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend chapter 108 entitled zoning of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
What is this?
Permanent foundation for the modular homes.
Oh, this is the modular home one?
Modular home,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 706.
Authorize the supervisor to issue a letter to the Suffolk County Department of Health Services allowing the use of Pine Barrens credits which originated from property located in the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 707.
Authorizes the release of site plan security of New York SMA Incorporated DBA Nextel Communications, Cherry Creek Golf Course. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 708.
Authorizes the release of site plan security for TRW Properties LLC. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 709.
Authorizes the release of site plan security of Yoda Incorporated. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 710.
Authorize release of a site plan security of Stonely Woods at Riverhead LLC. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 711.
Drop down councilperson. Who's that?
Oh, this is,
That's you.
Ratifies agreement between Costco Wholesale Corporation and the town of Riverhead in connection with the grand opening. Utilize parking, police personnel, and police cars. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, drop down one and drop down two. Vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, I just want to thank Costco. They're paying for the use of the police officers that were there at their grand opening, like Tanga does, and which no other establishment in Riverhead does. So I just want to thank them for doing that for the town. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 712.
Authorized waiver of 30-day notification required by New York State Liquor Authority. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, this is for the building on Pulaski Street,
Birchwood.
the Birchwood that closed. It's reopening under new management, and it's great to have a building that's going to be occupied and not empty. So I vote yes.
Walter.
I abstain, I represented the Cessas in the past, although not on this deal.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 713.
This authorizes the use of the Henry Pfeiffer Community Center for no-cost spay and neuter services for residents of the town of Riverhead for October 29th and 30th. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Based on the testimony that this is for Riverhead residents only, I will vote yes.
Gabrielson.
I think it's a good community service, so I'll vote yes.
Wooten.
Bob Barker say.
I'm open-minded.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I don't know.
What was that?
Where were we? You just threw them all off the...
I can't walk like that, so I just vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 714.
Ratifies agreement between Tanga Factory Outlet Centers, Inc. and the town of Riverhead in connection with Labor Day sales. And that's utilized for parking, police personnel, and police cars. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Again, they're paying for our police department, to help out, with traffic and everything else on these days. And, they've always done this. They're good for the town, and I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 715.
Authorizes the supervisor to issue a letter to STR Systems New York LLC pursuant to Section 487 of the real property tax law. So moved.
And I second it.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 716.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice of public hearing to consider a proposed local law for an amendment to Chapter 101 Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code, parking prohibited on Pulaski Street. So moved.
I'm gonna second it, but I just think it should be amended.
Amended.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Go ahead.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
John, you want it amended?
Go ahead.
You want to go
You're
down
the
that road
man.
again?
Okay. Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 717.
Disappoint an automotive equipment operator, no, it doesn't, I moved the table.
I second.
Moved, and which one are you on?
717.
17.
Seconded table, okay.
Moved and seconded as the table.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Fortunately, yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
No.
Resolution 717 is tabled. Resolution 718.
Authorize supervisor to execute a contract for payments in lieu of taxes, and that's Pilot with S Power. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote,
The
please.
only thing I would, I did get a new entity that was the contract vendor or the party that was gonna be buying the property, as a result of conversations with, Chris Kent today, and that entity is FTS Property Holdings LLC. That's the entity that's gonna be purchasing.
Do you want to amend it?
Well, I was looking to, just wherever S Power is, if we can just say, and successor and interest, that way it would cover whoever
What's
it is who's
that,
taking the,
successor and/or successor and or?
successor and interest.
Yes.
This way, whoever they assign the contract to and purchase it, that way we have the proper party's name for the pilot.
Okay, that's fine.
All right,
Successor and interest it is.
thank you.
Was it moved and seconded as amended?
As amended, I move it.
A second.
Moved and seconded as amended?
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 719.
Oh, I guess this is mine. I pay the bills.
You got a big wallet?
You like that, huh?
Did you second it? Moved and seconded as to pay bills?
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Hold on, Sal. Mr. Moore, I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have said what I said. It was not right for me to say. It was disingenuous. I might have been a little annoyed at you, but I shouldn't have said that. I should have said, so I do apologize. I shouldn't have done that, and every once in a while, the supervisor puts his foot in his mouth, and so here we are again.
I appreciate that, Sean, and I regret the tone as well. And I really do wish this had gone down a different path.
I wish it had as well.
So I could take the folks and give away some money.
And I just want to
I
say.
think Sal's going to tell us in a minute about it.
Mr. Moore,
Before yesterday.
Hey, look, I only know what I know when you guys tell me.
Mr. Moore, I just want to say, you guys are doing a great job up there. I think you were the first establishment up there to offer affordable housing to our seniors, and I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Councilman Sparrow. I appreciate your time today, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sal, what do you got?
First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that they fixed the drip in the bathroom. They installed a washer and it no longer drips. It had to go to Building and Grounds, to the plumbing division,
Now,
but
we had to do an RFP
fixed.
for that.
I understand. For those of you that live off Sound Avenue, you can probably appreciate what I'm going to say. I feel like a prisoner in my own home from April through December, okay? It took me almost 50 minutes to get to a football game 2 Saturdays ago because of the traffic on Sound Avenue. What's even worse is the fact that it's a safety hazard, both from a point of view of the people that are shopping and crossing the road without looking, to the fact that if an ambulance had to roll, there's no way to get to the hospital. Fresh Pond is backed up. They're parking on both sides of the road. And I get along really well with Lewin, so this is not an attack on Lewin. This is an attack on the people that come into this town and have no respect for the laws as to where they can park, how they can park, etc. It's impossible. I mean, it was backed up from William Floyd, because I went west on Saturday, okay, and I had to work my way around it, and I went west on Sunday and had to work my way around it. It's backed up from William Floyd almost to 48 going east. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Do you take the fire lane, the dirt road
Yes,
back
I
there?
went Saturday. I went to Forte's to order a floral piece.
Right.
I went west on 25A, and I went North Country to get home through the flyer lane to get to my street.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice that you knew that way, but now that you advertise it.
Yeah, but the people that are backing up our roads live west in
Yeah, they
Nassau
don't know
County. Okay. I mean, we got to do something. Okay. They're parking every place. I mean, do we change the
I don't even know,
rules on
Sal.
off-street parking?
I don't even know
It's a North Fork, man. It's a beautiful
that
place.
we have the ability, because of the ag and markets, the power that the farm community has through ag and markets. I don't think, if it's just an open farm field that you pick, they don't have to go to site plan. I think if we tried to make it no parking, then we would go into ag and markets. We would have a big problem with ag and markets. I don't know what the solution is.
Well, how do we respond as a town when the
I
police unit can't get through or an ambulance can't get through and somebody dies because of the delay?
I've brought this up several times, that they're parking wrong and some young child is gonna run out between those cars and get hit on
That's
Sound
my
Avenue.
point, John. They just
And
walk
that's
out.
what's gonna happen
but
before
you gotta have
someone
a solution.
thinks of what the solution could be.
What is the solution?
We have to sit down, talk to the farmers, and work out a solution with them. Yes, this is a farming community. They earn their money by these people coming out from the west and picking or the apples or whatever they're gonna pick. But we have to do something, because I'm just waiting for
Lewin's gone
to
out of
happen.
his way to put in an off-street parking lot on Hulse Landing Road.
That's right.
So they're now pulling off the road, and he widened the area so that they.
Parking, he did that.
Right. Maybe what we need to do is put up no parking signs on one side of the road. Okay, for example, on Sound Avenue on the north side of the road, and keep the parking on the south side of the road so that at least they wouldn't be crossing the road.
Isn't there picking on both sides, though, Sam?
No, no.
Aren't they in the Peach Farm, too?
Where's this?
Aren't they in the Peach Farm on the north side?
On what road?
Hulse Landing and Sound.
On the
Yeah, but they don't park
northwest
in
corner.
the Peaches, they go across the street. They can park west.
No,
of
there's
the
there's peaches on the north side, and there's blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries on the south side. Okay.
But I saw a lot of the peach pickers were down Hulse Landing Road and accessing.
They were down Hulse Landing Road too.
Yeah, but they opened it
Okay. But the main issue is Sound
Isn't that
Avenue.
Davis? Isn't that
And
Davis that put the parking lot in, or is it Lewin?
Davis has 2 parking lots inside of his gate.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that's what you were
Yeah.
talking
Lewin has a parking lot on the south side of Sound Avenue, just beyond where they're putting in the horse barns.
Okay.
He literally took a section of his farm, fenced it off, put his trailer inside the fence, put the porta-john inside the fence, okay, and has people parking off the road.
Right.
But the issue is Sound Avenue. It's ridiculous.
I did a wedding up at East Winds a couple weekends ago. And you're right. It's a country
George.
road. This is
There's nothing you can do, nothing you can do with
And it
Sound
bothers
Avenue.
me, and it bothers me when I'm driving, but when I'm there with my kid picking peaches.
But there's nothing we can do with Sound Avenue, because they designated that a historic corridor.
Why can't you put no parking on the
Well,
north
you
side
put
of the
no
road?
parking, you can do that.
But it's-
But there's no improvements to Sound Avenue that we can do, because it's a historic passage.
But it's not just a town of Riverhead problem, that traffic migrates, continues to go all the way out to Southold.
Oh, yeah.
It goes right out. And what has happened in the last 20, 30 years ago, before we had a lot of wholesale vegetable farms, everything got shipped into the city. You can't survive like that anymore. So almost every farm operation on the main road has opened retail to survive. If they didn't have these, you'd see these farms disappear.
Yeah, but you got.
So what happened? Oh, go on.
Good. I said, you got Southold, and I've been out there, there's off-road parking on those large farms.
Well, 50,
They
48
have- they
split,
park
so now
way
they've got
off
a
the
big, it's the
road,
biggest,
huh?
no, they're all over the main road too. You go into Laurel Mattock, they're on the road.
No, I'm talking about Sound Avenue.
But
I'm
the
talking
very
about Sound
survival
Avenue.
of our farm community is that fall traffic. Amongst other business, restaurants gain from, et cetera, I get what you're saying, but that starts from New York and goes out to
I
Lorient.
understand that, George. All I'm saying is it's really a safety issue, okay? Particularly with an ambulance that has to respond, okay? I mean,
It's just,
I
yeah, it's a
know now
universal
that if I
problem.
want to go to a
get it.
football game, I have to leave
Yesterday,
45 minutes to an hour earlier than I would normally leave, and I have to drive west to get around it, to go 25 or River Road
You gotta
to get
take the
into Riverhead.
expressway to Riverhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
even backed
Well,
up on the
if I
weekends.
go west,
So where do we regulate? From New York out?
I go down Host Landing Road, across the North Country, take North Country to Ridge, to bypass 25A.
I stay in my Wading River, and like you probably
Well, that's
do.
why I said I don't.
They don't leave.
Normally, I don't go out on weekends.
I
There you
don't
go,
miss.
we just solved it, stay home.
All right, get up. I was at Home Depot at 7 o'clock Saturday. Get up, get out.
It's interesting when you take trips down south, how you plan to get up around 3, so you wanna leave before the commuter traffic to get off the bridges. So I guess we gotta do that in Riverhead, if we wanna get around Riverhead, we gotta get early and beat the traffic.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard?
Phew.
Fire sale. You wanna go?
Patricia Holland. I'm still thinking about 684. I know you're planning on having a public hearing. The odds are pretty good. I won't be around for the public hearing, so I want to be on record now, on the radio, on the television, whatever. I am against what they want to do with gasoline, because I don't believe that all of a sudden, after all these years, we need to worry about having 2 of those tanks full of gasoline in case there's a hurricane. We've had hurricanes for years and nobody really cared. All of a sudden, I believe that they're going to wind up selling it, and we're going to have more traffic of now gasoline cars going back and forth. I'm against it. Just want to be on record to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Hello.
My name is Kelly McClinchy. I'm a resident in the town of Riverhead in Manorville. And I just came here today because I wanted to make you aware of a situation in my neighborhood that is continuing and escalating.
What's the,
First, I'd like to
what's
give
the
you-
address?
It's 289 Old River Road.
All right. I think the best thing to do is talk to the gentleman in the white shirt back there who's very familiar with the piece of property.
Jim is too, right? Jim, you've been working on this?
Yes, we've
do.
talked, and
Yeah.
I was going to give kudos to Mr. Wooten because he did, sit down and speak with me. But
A lot has happened since we spoke, but I'm not
my
sure what you're
concerns are really continuing, and I haven't seen a single patrol vehicle come down the road. Not a single one, not once.
I wish I could address that, but I can't.
Think there's
Not-
things
not on
happening.
record. Sorry.
And the people that are
Talk to you
visiting the
privately,
house
but
and knocking and walking in the neighbors' houses too.
I'll talk to you privately,
Fine.
but not on record.
Yes, pulling into my driveway.
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea because the police chief, the deputy town attorney, and I didn't realize Councilman Wooten, because one of your neighbors saw me in the bank, and then there was an arrest for prostitution, and that's the house.
That's correct.
So
And-
we've done some things, and we're doing some things. It's some of the stuff would be better if you. Will be done in a minute. You could corral this young man and that young man in the
Okay.
back, and they could speak to. Well, I don't know if Mr. Kozakevich knows too much about it, or Mr.
little
Duffy.
bit.
But those are the
Trying
three.
not to make it.
And I know nothing about it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's called constituent
We got
service.
pictures of you, John.
just not-
Get that car out of there.
All right. Yes, sir.
My name is John McConnell, and I live at 299 Old River Road. And within the last 2 weeks, a prostitute was arrested at the house next door to us.
This would be the same conversation, I think.
Yes. But today I went to the town code office and suggested that since the owner of the house is running a house of prostitution, presumably that's against the town code.
It's against a lot of things, sir.
Yes. And we're all hopeful that something will be done, because as soon as the woman was released, she's right back out in her driveway,
Yep.
making appointments, and cars are driving in and driving out. So
The
we know
best-
it's an ongoing situation.
As I said, it's hard to just have these conversations in public. That gentleman, this gentleman, and this gentleman probably would be very helpful to you as to where we're headed. Some things we could say, some things we might not be able to say, but we are working on that issue.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you, sir.
criminal. We don't want to say too much about it.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Not seeing anybody? Thank you. Okay, a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion, we close the town board meeting.
All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions, motion's carried. Oh, I second.
John, you dropped your garbage over here. I'm not-
Yes.